Hey everyone, how's it going? It's that nerd Ryan here. Welcome to our retrospective look back recap of the DCEU. Now we're not going into like full detail of each movie. We're going to kind of look at why it failed, what made it so bad. I mean, there's some gems in it, but like the issues and how not to do a cinematic universe. Now, the DCEU lasted way longer than a lot of ended or failed cinematic universes. Like the Dark Universe trying to start, 3 times? And other things like that. And it's probably the second most known. But it's got a lot of issues. So I like to look back and think about like Man of Steel, those days where things started. And you kind of realize Warner Brothers wanted to just catch up with Disney as fast as possible. With that, it was like 2013 or 2014 when Man of Steel came out. And then the immediate sequel was Batman v Superman in 2015, which came out the same year as Avengers Age of Ultron. And then we get immediately after that Suicide Squad. Immediately after that we get Wonder Woman, then Justice League. It was a very weird stack. I honestly feel like it would have benefited if the Justice League movie came out after, like, Man of Steel, obviously it did. Aquaman, Wonder Woman, a Cyborg movie, and definitely a solo Batman movie. And I feel the solo Batman movie should have came out before Batman v Superman, obviously. I don't think Wonder Woman necessarily would have had to, because while she is an important character in the movie, she's not a main character to the fact that Batman and Superman are. I feel that introducing Batman into his own, or into a movie without giving him a pretext simply because he's Batman is a bad idea. Batman has many different iterations, obviously, so you can have a very different Batman in every movie. I mean, if we look at it, the Adam West Batman is completely different from the Christian Bale Batman. Christian Bale Batman's different from the Michael Keaton Batman. Michael Keaton's, even in the same like series, Michael Keaton's Batman's very different from Val Kilmer and George Clooney. And yeah, even comparing Ben Affleck to Robert Pattinson, if you want to go more nowadays, completely different characters. So giving a Batman that has no backstory or anything like that, very bad idea. That was another issue with the DCEU, that people kind of jumped for Marvel that didn't jump for DCEU. Marvel, as much as I love it, is very dumbed down when it comes to comparing to comic books. As in, somebody can jump on, watch any Marvel movie. They might be lost due to the immense size of the MCU now, but they don't have to read any comics to understand the MCU. For the DCEU, that was definitely made for the comic fans, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. By all means, movies should be made first and foremost for the fans, not like how Sony makes movies. But what I mean by this is, you look at Batman and Batman v Superman. Robin's dead for some reason. If you don't know anything about anything other than the Batman movies that were released before, you only know that there's one Robin, and for some reason that one Robin is dead. So we're not getting a Robin. If you know the comics, you know that this is Jason Todd, Joker killed him, and that he'll eventually come back as Red Hood if the DCEU lasts that long. So obviously there's a bigger learning curve for the DCEU than the MCU, and the average moviegoer does not want to have to study up to go and see a movie, no matter what it is. Heck, even me with certain movies, as much as I love them and everything, you guys know I would rather watch something basic than have to study up on it before I see it. And that was a big issue with the DCEU. Also, if you look at the DCEU versus the MCU, I would call it, there is a main MCU character, or main MCU characters. As in, there's, at least from phases 1 through 3, 3 characters that are kind of the main focal point of the MCU. That being Thor, Hulk, and Iron Man. Everything that kind of happens, Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man. Everything that happens in the first 3 parts of the MCU affects those characters individually. We also get the most movies out of those characters. We get the most crossovers with them and everything. The DCEU didn't fully have that. We had a bunch of side movies and everything like that. Really only 2 important crossover movies, if you want to even call them crossover movies, and one reoccurring character that was never a main focal point. So, for example, that being Batman, who didn't even have his own movie again, but jumps in Batman v Superman, is in the Justice League, and then shows up in Flash. And I believe also shows up in Wonder Woman, or at least is mentioned in Wonder Woman. But compare that to the Marvel Batman, as in rich millionaire that recruits people, Iron Man. Iron Man has 3 movies. He's in the first 4 Avengers. He's in all the Avengers movies. He shows up as a cameo in the Incredible Hulk. He shows up in Captain America: Civil War. He is actually a mentor and shows up and helps Spider-Man in Spider-Man No Way Home, where if you were to compare that to the Flash, he's in it at the beginning, and then we get a completely new Batman. That would be like in No Way Home, or in, not No Way Home, in Homecoming, he shows up at the beginning, and then we get Tom Cruise randomly showing up as Iron Man for the rest of the movie. Not saying that, the Flash didn't make sense in that point, but you get the gist of what I'm saying. We had to establish that Ben Affleck was the Batman of the DCEU. And then we replace him with Michael Keaton, which I'm happy that Michael Keaton was in the movie, but then we're supposed to believe that he was the main Batman, and then it was actually George Clooney. Which brings in to the next point. Casting issues. And no full plan. So I know that's a start, people complain about that, about the sequel trilogy in Star Wars. Does feel kind of like phases 4 through 6 are not fully planned in the MCU, and that not everything is planned. And that's okay that not everything is planned. You need to be flexible and have stuff like that. But with the DCEU, they kind of had a 3-movie solid plan, being Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and Justice League. They knew that's where they wanted to go. It was nice that they threw Wonder Woman in there and Suicide Squad, even though poor quality is Suicide Squad, and stuff like that. And then they're like, okay, let's do whatever. I think the best example is, I liked Birds of Prey. Why did we need a Birds of Prey movie? Why did we need... most of these movies that I'm listing, I just want to say, I do like. But why do we need a Birds of Prey movie? Why did we need a Suicide Squad movie that early? Why did we need Blue Beetle? Why did we need the Shazam movies? What were those doing with the rest of the DCEU? With the MCU, yeah, we get Shang-Chi. We get Guardians of the Galaxy. We get... Let me look at more random stuff on here. We randomly get Doctor Strange thrown in. When you think about it, it's kind of in a random spot. We get a random... Trying to think of what else. Okay, I'm not going to say Eternals. That doesn't count. But yeah, we get random stuff like that. But it still interconnects and ties together and makes sense. DCEU kind of feels as though it was throw everything at the wall and hope something sticks and then build off that. We also got a lot of empty promises. Again, I know that like DCEU was canceled and they would have possibly eventually done some of these, but like, where's the Batman vs. Deathstroke movie that was promised in 2015? Where's the Shazam post-credits scene from the first movie? Where did that lead off to besides a Fury of the Gods joke that literally does nothing? Where's this like Suicide Squad build-up that got completely changed for the Suicide Squad and like stuff like that? It literally kind of just stumbled its way through. And another one final issue, and besides casting, I do want to talk about casting really quick, sorry. A lot of their people had controversies, and they also would cast people and then kind of get rid of them or hide them in the Snyder Cut. For example, they had Green Lanterns and they had the Martian Manhunter, did nothing with them. But yeah, finally we're going to talk about, they were trying to copy off the MCU. If you look at it, especially in the later movies, you could tell that they were trying to make MCU movies, which, be original. So let's hope that the DCU is not like the DCEU, and have some fun next year with Batman the Brave and the Bold and Superman Legacy. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell, and follow me on all my social media down below.